All right, so this is the portion of your Health 8 extra credit assignment. It's a completely separate assignment, obviously, compared to the workout. And what I want you to do is have it where if you choose to do this assignment, you're going to be writing a paper that is exploring why mental health is so important, as far as why it's important to take care of our mental health. And so with that being the case, I'll write down the instructions in the assignment, but basically it's going to be 2 pages, or minimum of 2 pages. It's going to be double-spaced. It's going to be size 11 or size 12 font. I will allow size 12, but it needs to be like Times New Roman or Arial. All right, so keep that in mind, that it's going to be a specific font and specific size. From there, what you're going to be doing is 3 things I want you to look at. Number 1, why is taking care of our mental health so important? I want you to be able to give me a good reason, and don't just say because we feel better or something like that. Like, you need to give me details. You need to give me reasons. Second of all, how? How do we take care of our mental health? And we've already been exploring that. We've been exploring calm down strategies. A lot of you have also mentioned things like going for walks or runs or things like that are also helpful with your mental health. So that could be something that you mention as far as how you take care of your mental health. And then how can you support other people with their mental health? Now, obviously, each person needs to take responsibility for themselves. So it's not like you can take responsibility for someone else's mental health and overall well-being. You can't do that. That's not your responsibility. But how do you be a good friend to someone who maybe is having a rough time, who is struggling with their mental health? And that's not a shameful thing. I have struggled, and I still struggle with my mental health. And it's just where I've learned to cope better. I've learned different tools and strategies to take care of myself. But we're all affected when it comes to mental health and well-being, especially during this time of COVID-19. We've seen a lot more people who have struggled with anxiety and depression. And so with that being the case, we're meant to be the body of Christ. We are meant to love each other unconditionally and extravagantly. And so with that being the case, if you know someone who's struggling with their mental health, maybe they're struggling with anxiety or depression or some sort of thing along those lines, then how can you support them? How can you be a good friend and to show them God's love in the midst of how they're feeling? Because you can't fix them. You can't make everything better, but you can love them and you can seek to support them the best that you can. And so I want you to look it up. How do you support someone who is struggling with their mental health? It could be someone who's struggling with, again, maybe things like depression and anxiety. Look it up, research it. And then I want you to be very clear in telling me, how would you do that? So first one is, why is it important to take care of your mental health and overall well-being? Why is mental health so important, basically? Number 2, how? How do you take care of your mental health? I want you to list a few strategies, not just one, not just 2, I want a few. And number 3, how do you support someone else who is maybe going through a rough patch? Because that happens, life happens. And so how can you be a good friend? How can you show God's love to them? And what are just practical ways that you can show up in their lives in a way that is encouraging and helpful, not ways that puts them down or shames them or tries to fix them, because that's not your job. All right, let me know if you have any questions.